What's up, you guys? It's Brandi. Thank you for tuning in to my channel. Before we jump into the video, I want to go ahead and address the elephant in the room, and that being my new hair color. If you have not seen my previous video, I did my first ever vlog and I took you guys to the salon with me and gave you like a little snippet of my life as well, because I'm trying to open up to you guys a little bit more in 2019, so you know more about me other than just, you know, videos that I sit here and talk to you, give you information, and that being it. Kind of want to let you into my life a little bit because I feel like, you know, we're family here. We're family. You should know more about me. I'm going to try to get better as I go with vlogging, but I did take you guys with me to the salon. I had my same girl, Najina, do my color like always. I have other color videos on here as well, so I'll link all of those below, including the vlog, if you guys want to see how I went about, you know, getting this transformation here. And also let me know what you guys think about it. I'm still trying to get used to it a little bit because it's only been about 4 or 5 days, and I don't know, it's just taking a minute trying to coordinate outfits, lipsticks, and all of that, and also get these brows together to match, but we gonna get there. We gonna get there. So today's video is going to be something that you guys have been highly requesting since I started my foundation series on here. You're like, sis, what are your favorites? What do you recommend? You try a lot, but what do you really like and use? So today I'm going to give you guys my top five affordable foundations. And I'm also going to be coming back again and giving you guys my top 5 high-end foundations that I recommend. Now, these are ones that I use on a regular basis, but of course, I really just wanted to come on here and give you guys my number 1 drugstore foundation and be done with it, because that's the one that I reach for the most. But I was like, I want to give you guys some variety because my number 1 for me might not actually work for you. So I wanted to give you some other options as well. For these, I find that most of them work really well for me, whether it's summer or winter time. So that's what I like, and that's why I included all of these in here. If you guys want more details about any of these foundations, I'm gonna leave the initial videos in the description box below for you guys to check out if you wanna see like my initial thoughts on it, how it applied with the brush and the sponge, and actually see it right when it's happening, and the wear test for it and all of that, how it held up throughout the night or throughout the day. You guys can check out those videos in the description box below. Anyway, we about to go ahead and jump in, but before we do so, y'all know I gotta do it. I want to welcome all of you guys who might be new here to my channel. Thanks for stopping by and joining us here. Hopefully you will enjoy something that you see here in today's video or on my channel. Definitely go and peruse, check it out, and see if you want to become a member of the family. And if so, I would love for you to click that little red subscribe button and join the family, because it does help out. I want to know who's here, and it also helps you get access to my videos so you don't have to go searching for them. It'll just pop up right there on your feed. Now for my other OGs, welcome back. Let's go ahead and jump into today's video. Okay, so jumping right in, I'm going to do the top 5, but I'm going to start with number 5 first, and then we'll work our way up to number 1, which I'm actually wearing today. So if you like the look that you see right now, then stay tuned to see what number 1 is. So the first foundation I'm going to be talking about is the L'Oreal True Match Super Blendable Makeup. This does have SPF 17 in it. It is a liquid, and it's in pretty much all drugstores. What I love most about this is the fact that it's super easy to blend out, whether you use a brush or a sponge. Now, if you want fuller coverage with this foundation, you definitely want to use a brush instead, because you can get fuller coverage a lot faster than with a sponge. And also, if you're conscious about how much products you use and how they get soaked up into your beauty tools, then you'll definitely want to use a brush instead. But if you want that really super natural skin-like finish with it, then I would say use a sponge. Now, this is going to give you a natural type of finish anyway, no matter what beauty tool you use. It truly is like, it looks like your skin after you put it on. They have a large shade range, and what I really like about it is that in the store, when you go, they have 3 different categories. They have warm, they have cool, and they have neutral. So if you know you're a warm undertone, all you have to do is go right to that section and then narrow it down and pick what color match you are. So for me, I am W8 Cream Cafe. And the only thing with this is, because this is such a liquid, runny type of foundation, I would suggest that you set this with some type of light translucent powder just to make sure that you can, you know, wear it throughout the day and it doesn't leave you with that tacky feel. If you want it to last a lot longer throughout the day and you don't really want it to get dewy as the day goes on, then definitely set it with a light translucent powder. Also, something else that I really love about this foundation is the fact that it does not settle as much into my smile lines and creases. Y'all know I talk about that in almost every one of my foundation review videos because that is something that I struggle with foundations, and it's like the older I get, the more deeper my creases get on my face. So that's something that I'm always trying to avoid with foundations, but it's kind of unavoidable. I just try to find foundations where it's as minimal as possible. And this is one of those where when you initially put it on, it's not going to settle at all. But as the day goes on, you know, you're smiling, you're doing stuff with your face. So it's bound to settle a little bit, but it's not super noticeable. Now, the only thing that I do not like about this foundation is the packaging of it and the fact that they do not have a pump on here. I'm always talking about the fact that, like, why aren't companies making foundations nowadays with pumps? This is an old foundation. Like I told you guys, it's been out for a minute, so that's likely why. But I'm just like, come on, can I get a pump, or can you at least create one where I have the option to buy one and it can be compatible with this? But other than that, it's a really, really bomb foundation. Okay, the next foundation that's up is going to be the ColourPop No Filter Foundation. Now, I know you guys remember when this came out, it was all the rave, I think about 2 years ago, where everybody was trying to get in on it because it's like ColourPop, they're known for eyeshadows, they're known for lip products and all of that, and now they're trying to come and, you know, make foundations. Are they going to be good and all of that? And they had a huge color range too. So like coming right out the gate, you've never done face products for real, and then you have this super huge foundation range. So everybody was like, I need to get in on this, and your girl was no different. I definitely had to give it a try as well. Now, in terms of the claims for this foundation, they're kind of off, but it's not a problem for me. Like if you're someone going to the website and looking up the claims for this foundation, you're gonna see it's supposed to be like a natural matte type of finish. It's supposed to give you full coverage right away and all of that. And you're going and getting this foundation for that reason, you're gonna be highly disappointed. It wasn't a problem for me though, because I was like, I don't really like natural matte finishes all the time. I don't really need full coverage all the time. So I'm more concerned about when I put on foundation and makeup, do I still look like myself? Does it look natural in a sense where it's skin-like? And I like a little dewiness sometimes as well. So for all of those categories, this hit it for me. Now, it does claim that this is supposed to be natural matte. That is not the case. It's not matte in any way. It's more of a natural skin-like finish. You're gonna see a little bit of dewiness coming through when you apply this, no matter if you use a brush or a sponge. So I like that. Also, it says that this is supposed to be full coverage. I tried to build this up and it actually did not work for me. I could only get like a solid medium coverage when using this foundation, which can be a bummer depending on your skin and how it is. Like today I have like a lot of breakouts, so I wouldn't reach for this foundation because I know it's not going to cover everything up, or I'm going to have to spot conceal. So if you're someone who likes that more light to medium coverage and you don't need full, then this would be something that you would like. Also, another great thing that I like about this one as well is that it does not really settle into my creases and fine lines on my face, which is great. I don't really set this with a powder like I do the L'Oreal True Match, but for some reason, like, it doesn't really leave the same tacky feel on my skin like the L'Oreal does. So I don't really feel like you need to set this with a translucent powder because it is going to kind of set down a little bit, and it's going to be somewhere between dewy and natural matte. Also, when ColourPop came on the scene with this foundation, they did us a solid one by giving us shade comparables. And that means, you know, if you know your shade in MAC, if you know your shade in Estee Lauder or Maybelline or L'Oreal or whatever it is, they gave us comparables. Like if you are L'Oreal W8 in the True Match, this is what you likely will be in ColourPop No Filter of this particular shade. So that was something that was really helpful, especially since they had such a large shade range, and a person who isn't really into makeup would be like, where do I even start? You're buying it online. That's one thing that's kind of like the downside to this, is you have to purchase it online. So that really helped out a lot in trying to figure out, okay, like what category am I in? Unfortunately for me, I still haven't been able to find my perfect shade in this foundation. I still have to mix shades, which is a downside to me, but that is kind of the trend for me when it comes to drugstore foundations and affordable foundations. A lot of times I do have to mix shades or I'm not going to have a spot on match. So for most of these that I'm going to be bringing to you guys today, you're going to see that I have at least 2 of them because I just can't find the perfect shade. It's okay for me because they are so cheap and affordable. I can afford to buy 2 and still won't be up there with the high-end prices for foundations. I picked up actually 3 shades. So I have dark 155, which is right here. I also have dark 165, and on my shelf over there I have dark 175, which is way too dark for me right now. That would be like a summer shade. But these are the 2 that I use the most often, and I try to mix them together to get that perfect shade for me. So for the next foundations, I actually have 2 different, but they're from the same brand. So this is my logic here. They're both from the brand Ordinary, but they have 2 different types of foundations. One is supposed to be for lighter coverage and one is supposed to be for more coverage. So I'm kind of including these together. It's kind of like cheating, but not really. It just depends on your preference. So I didn't want to choose one over the other because I use both finishes, both types, depending on what I want for that day. So I'm going to include both of them, but they're kind of like both number 3. Starting with the first one I'm going to talk about is the Ordinary, and this is the coverage foundation. It's supposed to give you the maximum coverage, hence the name. I really like this one because even though this is supposed to give you full coverage, it actually doesn't feel like full coverage on your face. It feels very lightweight, and it still looks like your skin after you apply it. Now it definitely does give you that full coverage and it builds up for you, which was surprising to me because it's not as thick as some full coverage foundation. So I'm like, is it really gonna cover it up for me? But this formula is actually very similar to my number 1 that I'm going to talk about later. So that's why I feel like I probably really like this a lot. In terms of how I like to apply this, I actually like using it with a brush or a beauty blender. I find that when I use it with a brush, I of course can get that full coverage right out the gate. But if I want to, take a little bit of time and I don't want super full coverage, but I still want, some spots covered up completely. Another thing that I like about this foundation that's slightly different from its counterpart, the Serum foundation, is that this does a really great job at covering up most of my hyperpigmentation around my mouth. That's something that I struggle with because I don't like to color correct before applying foundations, but this does a really good job of masking most of it. It is still going to be a little bit peeking out, but it's good enough for me because everybody that's a woman of color pretty much has some type of hyperpigmentation on their skin. So it's natural, but I don't want it to be too prominent and like bam right in your face when you see me. So this does a really good job at covering that up, which I like. Now, one thing with this particular foundation, the coverage one, is that it says it's supposed to be a natural matte finish. However, for me, I don't experience that. I always get more of a natural skin, almost dewy in a way type of finish to my skin, which was odd with this one because actually this one gives me the finish that the Serum is supposed to give, and the Serum gives me the finish that this one's supposed to give. So I'm just like, that don't make sense. But that's kind of why I reach for this the most over the Serum, because of the fact that this gives me that natural skin-like dewy almost finish to it. And if I want it to be that natural matte, I can just throw a little bit of translucent powder on. Now, the downside to this foundation is that you cannot find this in store. You have to purchase this online as well. I know Sephora sells it, and you can of course go directly to their website. And the other downside to this is that I also have to mix shades with this. I can never get my spot on matte. So what I have here, I have 301Y, and then I also have 3.1Y. Now, as you guys can see, the Y represents yellow for the undertone. These don't both look like they have a yellow undertone, do they? This one looks more of a neutral or red in the bottle, and this one definitely looks like a yellow undertone. So for now, I just have to mix the 2 shades, which is okay with me. But the only problem with that is you're always going to get a slight variation in the color when you have to mix shades. So Womp, womp, womp. Okay, so moving on to the sister foundation, which is the Serum foundation. This too is very, very lightweight on the skin. Makes you feel like you literally have nothing on at all. This is more so of a light to medium coverage. So if you have a really good skin day, this is something you would want to reach for because you don't really need much coverage. You could literally just wear this foundation by itself and a little bit of concealer, and that is it. You won't really need to contour or do anything else. It claims that this is supposed to be more of a skin-like finish, but I've personally had the experience of it being more of like a semi-matte natural finish, which isn't a problem. It just depends on what you prefer. This also doesn't really settle into my fine lines. That's kind of like a running theme here with this video. Pretty much all of these foundations don't really settle that much into my fine lines, which is why they're included in this video. In terms of the downsides of this foundation, the biggest one is that this is not a long wearing foundation. You're definitely going to, have it where it wears off throughout the day. You're going to get oily throughout the day, especially if you're wearing it over 6 hours. I would say if you're just going somewhere and it's going to be for a short amount of time, this will be great. It's going to look just like your skin, but better and all of that. But if you're going to be out on the town overnight or whatever it is for 8 or more hours, this ain't gonna be your friend because you're gonna be pretty oily at the end of the night and it's gonna wear off in a few places. Okay, so for the next foundation, this is actually a newer one that I just tried out probably like 3 weeks ago. It's super new and it's actually new on the market as well. It's the Milani Conceal and Perfect Stick Foundation. Now, I have tried the liquid version of this and I hated it, but thankfully they came out with a stick and I actually love this stick version. Oh my gosh, love it so much. The color match is almost spot on, but it's definitely something that I use often. This is something I take to work with me a lot of the time because it's so easy to apply. I just also did a 10-minute makeup video or 10-minute makeup routine with this one showing how I use it with the rest of my products. So this is kind of like my favorite right now. Like it's kind of moved my number one back to number two a little bit, but I'm not going to put it there because this is so new. But if it still keeps performing like it is, it might end up being my number one. Don't tell number one that though. What I love about this is kind of pretty much the same that I've been talking about the other foundations, is the fact that it gives you such a natural skin-like finish. It blends out easily. I do find that sometimes it is a little bit tough, and if I spray a little bit of Fix Plus or some type of setting spray on my face, it blends out super easy and it's not a problem at all. I know sometimes with stick foundations, it can either be too creamy where they're all over the place, or they can be a little bit tough where it's kind of like you're tugging on your skin trying to blend them out. But I don't really find that this is much of an issue. It's kind of like somewhere in between where you can blend it out without spraying any spray on your face, but to make it a lot easier and it melds and meshes with your skin more, I would say use some type of setting spray after you apply it all over and blend it out. I prefer blending this and other stick foundations with a foundation brush over a beauty blender just because I feel like it gives me more of an even type of coverage. It also blends out a lot easier and it doesn't look streaky or patchy in any places. In terms of the shade ranges, it's not that many shades. Milani never really releases a whole bunch of shades in their foundations, which is a bummer, and I want them to, rectify that situation. But I did find one that was as close as possible to me. I got mine in 275, which really isn't a spot on match. They do, it has the yellow golden to it, but it's just still slightly off. That's the only thing about this, and the fact that they don't have a large shade range. So it will be a little bit difficult for some of you guys to find your shade in it. They give you a good amount of product. I don't have to use a lot of this, which is great as well. Definitely try it out if you're a stick foundation lover. You're gonna really like this. Okay, now from a baby, from a rider that's been with me since day one. This was actually, I think, my very first foundation review on my channel. I use this foundation, and if you have ever asked me what my number one foundation is, you should already know what this is. Like, you should. If you've been rocking with me for a minute now and you be following me on Instagram, because I be talking about this foundation all the time. Actually, I feel like they should cut your girl a check because I've been selling the product for them, okay? If I'm ever out of this, it's gonna be a bad day, because when my makeup just ain't looking right, this is the one foundation I can count on and go to that will have your girl looking all the way together. And I'm actually wearing it today. So if you like what you see right now, then this gonna be the foundation for you, because y'all don't even know what's going on up under all of this. Like, I got active breakouts, I got dark spots, I got all of that, but can you see them? Can you see them? No, you can't. And it's because of this foundation. Now, this is the Maybelline Fit Me Matte Plus Poreless. When I first decided to try this out, just like, I don't know if this is gonna work for me. This is supposed to be for normal to oily skin. I have dry skin. I think at the time when I tried this, I was actually like combo skin. So that's why it worked, but it still works just the same now, even with dry skin. So this is why I really feel like this is a foundation that could be for all skin types. I know companies say that a lot when they're trying to like promote their products, but this truly is, this can be for all skin types because it just depends on how you prep your skin for the foundation. So for me, oh my gosh, this is so freaking amazing. I love the consistency of it. I love how it blends out with a brush or a sponge. I love the finish it gives. I love the wear of it. Like, look, there's pretty much nothing I can say about this formula that I don't like. When I originally tried this foundation, I got it in the shade 330 Toffee Caramel. This was not a spot on shade. Like, if you go back and look at that video, you're gonna see it looks a little bit neutral on me. It's not as warm of an undertone as I need. But a few years later, they've expanded the shade range and your girl is now, I feel like this is a really good match for me. And this is 335 Classic Tan. This is what I'm wearing today. And I like, look, the undertones of it are there. The color match is there. So I can't complain about this formula, the shade range, or anything at all. And the fact that you can find this in pretty much every store you go to, whether it's Walmart, Target, Dwayne Reed, CVS, Walgreens, Rite Aid, like, what store can you not find this in, honestly? If you have not tried this, I don't know where you've been. I really don't. People have been talking about this. I've been talking about this. You need to try this out, okay? You need to try it out. I love this so much. I would even venture to say this is something you can wear on a casual day and just not make it where it's super full coverage. Or you can even wear this to like a glam event because you can build this up. It's buildable coverage for sure. The finish that it leaves for me isn't really a matte finish. It's more of a natural or semi-matte finish. And it depends on what I put underneath it. If I put like a lot of oils and moisture-packed moisturizers underneath it, then I can get more of like a natural skin-like finish. But if I just put on like a regular primer, I can get that semi-matte type of finish to my skin. I don't have to set it with a powder at all. I do have to hit it with the Fix Plus spray though. I have to do that so it does look, you know, a little bit less matte for me. I can put this on at 7 o'clock in the morning and wear it throughout the whole day, go out at night, and then come back home at like 10, 11, and it will still look bomb with no touch-ups. So I highly recommend, like, out of all of these foundations that I'm talking about in this video, if you want to actually spend your money on something, I would say this one, and I don't feel like you would regret it at all, no matter what your skin type is. If you have had bad experiences with this foundation, please let me know, because I feel like I haven't heard anybody, not now, talk bad about this foundation. But the only bad thing I have to say about this one, y'all probably already know what I'm gonna say before I say it, and that's the fact that they do not have pumps for this. Still, this foundation has been out for so long. They have come out with other foundations, the Superstay and all these other ones. I can't even remember the other name, but I've tried some other ones from Maybelline that have pumps. Why can't we get a pump on this one? This is the MVP. Like, this is the money maker. Why can't we get a pump on this one? Or at least have one that we can buy to, you know, work with this one. So that's kind of like my only qualm with this foundation. So that is it, you guys, for this video. Hopefully it was not too long. I wanted to just give you the information bam, 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 right in your face, so you can make the decision on your own whether you want to try these. Again, remember, I am going to link all of the initial review videos in the description box on all of these foundations, so you can really get that more in-depth. If you liked one and you're like, I think about buying that one, I would definitely say check out the full video so you can see how I applied it and see with your own eyes what it really looked like and the longevity of it and all of that, and then make an informed decision. If you guys enjoyed this video, definitely give it a thumbs up and show your girl some love. Drop me a line in the comment section below. Let's chat, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.